How tough was it transitioning to the WWF at the time? Because you obviously used to going in the ring to hurt people, and then to go in to sort of have it a bit different. Was it times at the start where you maybe caught an elbow or a hand, you thought, oh God, I nearly lost it then, or were you just ultimate professional?
No, I went in professionally. I mean, I did wrestling first. I started
Yeah.
out in pro wrestling, but it had been a long time, and they gave me a guy named Van Vader for one of my first matches, and he had done some mixed martial arts over in Japan, the kind of the shoot fighting wrestling. So Vince put him with me, knowing that if I got stiff with them, that Van Vader would be fine. I mean, he's a gamer, right? He's a tough guy. And so when they put me with him, I broke his nose because I threw a knee, and it wasn't on purpose, but it just happened. But we were stiff with one another because, at least to me, I felt normal, right? It just felt right, and I was very, very happy that I had him, because if it would have been anybody else, they wouldn't have made it through the match, because
Yeah.
I probably would have put them on the ground and they probably would have walked away or something, or did something, because I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I didn't have an understanding of what it was, right? And I was trying to still find that wrestling thing I did early on. And so by having Van Vader, it gave me an opportunity to go ahead and have that match, and then understand where I needed to be in order to compete in the WWF. And so I was very fortunate to have somebody like Vader in there with me to be able to do my first match. So, yeah, God bless him. I know he's in heaven right now, but he was a tremendous opponent. And I couldn't have asked for a better guy to open my career with in the WWF.
And with the crowds and things like that, because MMA at the time wasn't as big as the WWF, was it amazing being in some of them stadiums with 80,000, 60,000 people? And was that, did you take a bit to acclimatise to that, or was it just exciting?
Well, you got to remember, when I was in Japan, I was in front of 90, almost 90,000 people, close to
Right? Yeah.
100,000 people in the dome. So I was used to it. I knew what it was like. I was always the main event most of the time. And so I knew the crowds were huge in Japan because their TV and pay-per-view just aren't there.
Yeah.
So I understood what it was like to be in front of crowds. Obviously not as electric, because Japanese fans were different when they cheer. They're not all crazy like the US is. But yeah, so I did have kind of a feeling for what it was like to be in front of a bunch of people. And but it was different. I remember the Canadian Stampede was the Americans against the Canadians. You want to talk about a loud audience, man. That was just, I mean, I've been in front of a couple of them with WWF, and your skin vibrates when they're getting so loud. And it puts you in a different atmosphere when you're out there trying to entertain people. You want to go an extra mile for them.
Well, I can remember when I was younger, you had a massive fight with The Rock. I can remember that was huge when we were kids, like, oh, you're going to have to watch this. It's going to be unreal. And I can remember that was loud again, wasn't it? Like, people were going crazy for that match.
Yeah, that was another huge match. Like I said, I've been very fortunate to be in there with a lot of top guys and a lot of great crowds, great fans. And Rock was right at the top of that, just electrifying. And so for the matches I had with The Rock were, I've said it before, they're some of my best memories. And I've got a lot of them there with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, Stone Cold, The Undertaker. I mean, I could go on. Those are definitely ones. I mean, my career there was memorable, and very fortunate to have that. So, but The Rock, like I said, there's some special moments there.
Well, it's weird because I've watched a few podcasts and interviews with wrestlers from that era, and there's certain people everyone likes. You, The Undertaker, and The Rock. It's always like, oh yeah, Ken was great. The Undertaker was like the general of the change room, things like that. Was there much bitchiness in the change rooms, or did you just not notice because you were just getting on with your job?
No, I think the attitude there was a great time. Wow, it was a lot of talent there, and everybody was happy because everybody was, even if you were opening the card up you were part of a story that mattered. It wasn't like you're just another guy on the card and you're going to open it up for the main event. Man, every match counted. And so it was a fun time because everybody was relevant. So it was really fun. And it wasn't, I hate to bring it up, but because it's a bad memory, but it wasn't really, to me, it wasn't really bad until the screw job. With
the Montreal one.
Yeah, because then is when the Canadians and the Americans, and there was so much tension and heat and anticipation with what was going to happen next in the story. And it was a great time. And then something happened, I don't even know the whole story yet. And I don't want to know it because that means you have to go back and retrace everything. And it's just a bad memory. But it just felt like this story had just turned dark, and it started probably, I don't know, a month or two prior to the screw job. You just felt things. Brett was pissed off all the time. Sean was, antagonizing and being Sean. Sean is a very, very talented guy and very charismatic. Good and bad.
Yeah.
And you could see the tension between the two. You could feel it through everyone. And then people started taking sides and, it just got ugly. It got dark. And then the screw job happened. And I just felt to myself, it could have been handled differently, because now the wrestling is all about trust. I mean, it's all about trust. You're getting in the ring with people and you're working and it's a dance. It's still risky. You're still hurting one. You're still hurting and slamming and punching. You're doing all these things that still hurt. But the intentions aren't going to be trying to hurt somebody, even though everything you're doing is risky. So you trust people, right? And so once I got into the business, that's what I was told. You got to rely on your partner and you have to trust them. And that's what I was sold going into the pro wrestling, WWF. And then when I seen this happen, I thought, okay, Sean did that. That was wrong. And then I found out that, it came from the top. And if it was just Sean, let those two guys settle it. Because I like both of them. I do.
Yeah.
Brad is my guy, right? Brad is my guy. But I thought I respect Sean because of his ability and his talent. There's no question. But when it came from the top, and all of a sudden, all that the fantasy had just turned out to be a bad guy. Everything that you were relying on and thinking was it isn't, because you got the guy at the top basically going in and swerving and lying and cheating somebody out of a finish because they won't do something that you want them to do. Instead of just firing them and stripping them of the belt, it went that way. And so it just, I think more than anything, man, it hurt. And then all of a sudden now I'm afraid of because I was Brett's guy, and I worked with Brett, and that he was going to work an angle with me and drop the strap to me. At least I thought, because he came to me and said that he would drop it to me, and all this is supposed to be happening. And all of a sudden now I'm in the crosshairs of what happened to Brett and his family. And now I'm in the crosshairs because I'm a part of that. What's going to happen with me, And so then this stuff starts creeping into your head. Even though it may not be true, and it's probably not, but you're still going, is something going to happen with me? And I'm a badass, right? So how far are they going to go with me? Like, what are they going to do? I'll get up and start kicking people's ass. So what are they going to do with me? Is it going to be physical? They're going to drop a trash can on me? I don't know. Like I said, these are things that were going through my head. And it was one of those times where it was just, it was bad.